بسم الله الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن تمسك بهديه إلى يوم الدين وبعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. It states here in Al-Minhaj, the explanation and the commentary of Sahih Muslim, Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala tells us, وفي حديث عتبان هذا فوائد كثيرة تقدمت في كتاب الإيمان. There are many benefits in this hadith of Itban, hadith of last night, many benefits. And many of those benefits have been previously mentioned in that chapter of Iman, Kitab al-Iman. منها أنه يستحب لمن قال سأفعل كذا أن يقول إن شاء الله للآية والحديث. He says here, the first fa'idah from this hadith is that it is recommended for whenever a person says that I'm going to do something to say inshallah. It is recommended to say inshallah whenever a person intends to do something. No, he doesn't say this obligatory. He says that it's recommended. Based off of the ayah in the Quran and the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ here. Next point. وَمِنْهَا التَّبَرُّكُ بِالصَّالِحِينَ وَآثَارِهِمْ والصلاة في المواضع التي صلوا بها وطلب التبريك منهم. The second benefit, he says, is seek blessings from the righteous, and to seek blessings in what they leave behind, or the places in which they used to sit or rest or pray and things like this, and to seek barakah from them. Obviously, this is going to be problematic to say this and the concept itself. How can he say that we can seek barakah from other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? How can he say that we can seek barakah from righteous men? Is this true or is this false? Is this correct or is it incorrect? We know that there are certain types of barakah or certain types of seeking of barakah which is valid and correct and true. And other types, other ways which are invalid, which are false, which are haram. So if one says, I want to study with this teacher, and no doubt he's been studying for a while, he's traveled the world in the 7 seas, as they say. He's been around, he's taught people, he has experience, and he's produced many students. I believe that Allah has given him some type of barakah. And I want some of the barakah that this sheikh has, his ilm, his experience, his akhlaq, etc. Then that's one thing. But if you mean that the person's barakah is dhatiyah, lazima, the barakah of the one's body, the barakah of a place, the barakah of one's actual essence itself, then that's clearly going to be problematic. That's clearly going to be what? Problematic. And the only one who had that type of barakah was the Prophet ﷺ from this ummah. The barakah, which was physical and metaphysical. The Prophet ﷺ's hair was barakah in it. His sweat had barakah in it, etc. And also the Prophet ﷺ's message, his life, what he did, what he said, how he taught, how he behaved, what Allah had given him was also a means of barakah, the metaphysical barakah. But the righteous people, scholars, warriors, people who benefit Islam with their wealth, etc., they have no physical barakah with them. I'm not going to rub him or touch him or sit in his chair and so on and so on and what? And so on. Now, if this is the case, and obviously the ulama, they've pointed these things out, the researchers of today have pointed these things out. The question is, Ahmed, how can we read this book? How can we study this book? How is the first book that we tell the beginning student of knowledge to read about hadith is 40 hadith Nawawi? And he made a what? A mistake. An aqidah or not an aqidah? This is the issue of what here? Without a question. What you believe. So if Nawawi made this mistake, how is it even permissible for us to study his books, read from his books, benefit from his books? Rather, the first book that we say to study is what? Hadith. But at the same time we say, Brother Ala, who's well known, well respected, we know where he studied, he said something in a lecture that was controversial. or he did something which was controversial, or maybe he did make a mistake, and we immediately say what? Don't take anything from him. Leave him alone. Stay away from him. Well, he's a very beneficial brother. If he shot 99 arrows or 100 arrows and he made 99 of them and he missed one, wouldn't it make sense to take the 99 and avoid the one mistake? Say, no, that's not the way of the Salaf. In the Salaf, they would avoid those types of people that had these errors, that had their mistakes. But at the end of the day, we still keep reading what?
Things like that.
Noah's book. And what she's saying, Tabarruk bis-salihin wa atharihim. Praying in the places in which what? They what? Pray. This is where this righteous sheikh prayed. That's why I'm going to pray in the masjid. This is where this abid, this saint, this wali prayed. I'm going to what? Pray there. Kayf hada. Isn't that a bit hypocritical and contradictory now? But they're going to say, no, it's a difference. And no, he was a scholar. And he's Allah's just a student of knowledge. In actuality, is there a difference in that, Abu Sa'id? A mistake is a what? And according to you and your interpretation, the way of the Salaf is what? I don't want to hear anything you have to say. What did it say? Well, I know He says, don't tell me half of a statement. Cover his ears. That's what they say now. So that's out the window. Scholar, student makes no what? Makes no difference. The truth is the truth. The falsehood is the what? No matter who says it. Unless you actually don't believe that. And it's clear that you don't believe that because it keeps coming up. It's reoccurring now. He's a scholar. He's a student. He can't say that, but he can. Says who? Who said that? Abdullah ibn Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhuma, he knew the answer to the question about the date palm tree. And the only reason why he didn't speak is because there were older people in front of him. And the older Sahaba, they didn't know what tree the Prophet was talking about. He says that there's a tree in which there's a resemblance between the tree and the believer. Ibn Umar says, فَوَقَعَ النَّاسُ فِي شَجْرِ الْبَوَادِي. He says the people, they thought about what? The trees in the wastelands, this tree and that tree. And the Prophet was only talking about the date palm tree, the nakhla. So Ibn Umar radiallahu anhuma, the point from the hadith is that what? The youngest one what? He knew it. And the older ones what? Didn't know it. So that is the only thing that we have. Haqq and batil. If a scholar's ijtihad is wrong, it means nothing. If a student of knowledge, if he's right, then it means what? Something. That's the rule. So that's out the window. Or some of them, they'll say, well, no, he's dead. He's dead. So he's not alive. He's not calling to falsehood like Brother Ala is. He's calling to it. People can still have a fitna with him. They still can be attached to him, so on and so forth. Did the Salaf as-Salih ever make a distinction between those who are dead and those who are alive? The brother, he says, I only follow the Prophet and the companions, nobody else. Did they even have this situation in their lifetime? Was there a time in which someone lived and died and people were attached and put through a test on the trial with that person? Did they even have the opportunity to do that? Or are you getting this principle, this dabit, this regulation from a what? A scholar today. He's saying the difference between Noah's works, you can read them because he's dead, but this modern day scholar, you can't because he's alive. Did the Salaf even have that? Did they even speak on that? So in actuality, you're no longer following but you're following the interpretation of a what? Of this modern day sheikh. He may be right. He may be wrong. But you're not following because the Salaf, they never even said that. The Salaf, they never what? They never said that. Everybody clear on this or not? Or they may say, well, no, only a few people read these books, but everyone listens to him. So that's why we have to warn from him and not warn from Nawawi. What's the first book you should study when you go overseas? First book of hadith is what? For the hadith. Oh man, it is an excellent book. Nawawi. Wow. So his book is so good and everyone agrees unanimously this is the first book to study in hadith. So he has to be what? So let me read his other books. And when I learn Arabic, I'm going to what? And then the falsehood and the batil I'm going to come across, etc. So what excuse do you make now? For saying burn his CD, get rid of his books because of this, because of that. And for argument's sake, you're right. Let alone the fact that in most cases, Abdul Qawi, the one who's criticizing is what? Is mistaken. He's mistaken. He's the mukhti. In most cases, let alone if it's an issue of ijtihad, if it's different views, different proofs and evidences. So the concept of hypocrisy. Don't listen to him no matter what you do, no matter what is beneficial, but read and study and benefit from Ibn Hajar, from Nawawi, who clearly made mistakes in Aqidah. Rather, some of them said, and Allah knows best, is this the truth or not? Some of them said, no, they didn't make mistakes in Aqidah. And they said they were Ash'ari. There was no, they had Ash'ari. No, they were what? That was the default. And the Hadith culture, which obviously brings the understanding and the practice of the Salaf with it, that was the thing that laid a layer on top of the what? Ash'ari cake. What's first, the cake or the what? Or the frosting? So many people today, they say, Ibn Hajar and Nawawi, they say the cake was what? Ahl Sunnah. Ahl Sunnah. But this mistake, this influence, so that's just on the top, the glazing on top, the icing on top. And some others may say, no, abadan, no way. Rather, they were what? Ash'ari from the get-go. The madhab, Egypt, Sham, the 7th, 8th, 9th century. And because they dealt with Bukhari and Muslim and this and that, it forced them to do what? Have a better direction than the one who was just purely involved in fiqh. Or purely involved in lugha. Everybody understand this? One who's just purely involved in qira'at. Islamic history, when you study it. The scholars who studied hadith and dealt with hadith, they were further away from much misguidance than those who had studied fiqh and usul. Because the hadith culture is so aggressive. It forces you to what? Some type of cleanliness to you. It's not going to leave us so much space for too much dirt. But if you're studying usul and everything is qala wa qila wa fulan wa ghazali and this one and that one and this one, this intellectual, this philosophical thing, then it's what? Whole different. Everybody understand the difference? This is very hypocritical. And the reason why the people have made these different principles, well, it's a book, he's a scholar, he's Arab, this person's not Arab, it's modern day. The only reason why they made up these principles is because they're trying to run from contradiction. They know that it doesn't make sense. We don't take nothing from no one who has a mistake. But we do take from Ibn Hajar, Nawawi, and this one and that one. Suyuti, and this one and that one. And these people had all types of issues and things that they said concerning Aqidah. Everybody understand this? So this is very, very dangerous. It's very what? Very dangerous. And this is what happens when we bring new things. We bring new elements, and then we try to keep the orthodox way, but it's clearly tainted. You're going to look foolish now. You're going to look what? You're going to look foolish. Don't listen to anything he has to say, even though he's beneficial and he's helping you out. But take from him, and he's saying what? Tabarruk bis-salihin. Take the barakah of the what? The righteous. What they leave behind? He left a pot in his house. I'm going to grab the pot and drink out of it. And now there's what? Barakah in the pot. Or put on his clothes, or I'm going to pray and where he prayed. Everybody understand? It's like sports. You go to the museum. Or you go to the headquarters. They say, these are the original gloves of Muhammad Ali. He's like, wow, you're training in the same gym which Joe Frazier trained. This is where he used to hit the heavy bag. You're going to like, you're going to feel his presence there, huh? Boxing with you. Everybody understands? So there are many other statements and actions, what? Like this, with regards to Aqidah, let alone other issues. So you have to be mindful of this. And an interesting fact is that who were the companions that sought the barakah of the Prophet ﷺ's hair and his sweat? Was it Abu Bakr and Umar? Was it the Kibar Sahaba? Or those who were less than the major companions? That's just food for thought. That's what? Food for thought. Not saying that it's haram. Or the Prophet's actual physical presence, his physical being, and the things that fell from his body. But just for food for thought. The people that did that from the Sahaba, who were they? The learned companions that were with him all of the time? Or the people that came to Islam here and there? Huh? Be mindful of that. Moving forward. An-Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala, he says, وَمِنْهَا أَنَّ فِيهِ زِيَارَةَ الْفَاضِلِ الْمَفْضُولِ وَحُضُورَ ضِيَافَتِهِ. Another benefit is that someone who's less virtuous can visit someone who's more virtuous can visit someone who's less virtuous. This man should be visiting him. He should be going to him. But the Prophet instead he did what? Everybody clear on this or not? The Fadil is who? Who's the Fadil? Man is Fadil? An-Nabi al-Kareem. The Prophet is the one who's a Fadil. He has the Fadl. And the Mafdul is who? Is Itban. Itban is the Mafdul. So it should be the opposite. He should be visiting him. But instead the Prophet what? So that's permissible. That's what? That's permissible. Tayyib. Moving forward. It also goes to show that a person should take when someone wishes to host someone and honor them as their guests. وفيه سقوط الجماعة للعذر. And it also shows that when there's an excuse, one does not have to attend the jama'ah, as we have what? Explained. وفي استصحاب الإمام والعالم ونحوهما بعض أصحابه في ذهابه. And also shows us the recommendation for the imam or the learned man, the alim, to take some of his friends and students and companions with him on his missions and journeys, as we said last night. Nawawi then says, وفيه استئذان على الرجل في منزله وإن كان صاحبه وقد تقدم منه استدعاء وفيه الابتداء في الأمور بأهمها لأنه صلى الله عليه وسلم جاء للصلاة فلم يجلس حتى صلى وفيه جواز الصلاة النفل جماعة وفيه أن الأفضل في صلاة النهار أن تكون مثنى كصلاة الليل وهو مذهبنا ومذهب الجمهور وفيه أنه يستحب لأهل المحلة وجيرانهم إذا ورد رجل صالح إلى منزل بعضهم أن يجتمعوا إليه ويحضروا مجلسه لزيارته وإكرامه والاستفادة منه وفيه أنه لا بأس بملازمة الصلاة في موضع معين من البيت وإنما جاء في الحديث النهي عن إيطان بعض أو موضع من المسجد للخوف من الرياء ونحوه وفيه الذب عمن ذكر بالسوء وهو بريء منه وفيه أنه لا يخلد في النار من مات على التوحيد وفيه غير ذلك والله أعلم. النووي رحمه الله تعالى then says, from those fawaid, many of them we mentioned last night, he says this goes to show us that it is permissible to pick one place to remain praying in your house, to take a place and to remain in that place and to stick to that place. And there's only a prohibition of doing this in the masjid, taking a place like that of a camel, itan. But in your house, this is where I like to pray, this is my corner, this is my room. He says that's what? That's fine. طيب. He says it also shows us that it's permissible and recommended to defend someone who's been mentioned unjustly, some type of falsehood. There's nothing wrong with that. And also those who die upon Tawheed will never remain in the hellfire forever. Whereas we know there are two meanings of that statement. حُرِّمَ عَلَى النَّارِ. He won't go to the fire, or the fire will be, he'll be sacred to the fire. He'll be impervious to the fire. Two interpretations of that. The first interpretation is the person won't go to the fire at all. Period. He who says this statement, حُرِّمَ عَلَى النَّارِ, will be made sacred to the fire. He won't go to hell at all. And the second interpretation is that he will not remain in hellfire forever. And there will be certain parts of the hellfire that will not touch him. This helps you out and allows you to understand many ahadith which could seem to be clashing. He who says La ilaha illallah, seeking Allah's face, won't go to the fire. But another hadith clearly says that there will be monotheists whom the Prophet ﷺ will intercede for. And they will leave the hellfire and they become burnt. عرفت كيف؟ التحريم على كم؟ على نوعين. التحريم على نوعين. There are two types of tahrim. Right, let's move forward to the next chapter. باب جواز الجماعة في النافلة والصلاة على حصير وخمرة وثوب وغيرها من الطاهرات. حديث ميمونة رضي الله عنها أنها قالت كان رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يصلي وأنا حذاءه وأنا حائض وربما أصابني ثوبه إذا سجد. قالت وكان يصلي على الخمرة. Chapter number 48 says, it is permissible to offer the nawafil prayer in congregation and to pray over a hasir, mat made of date palm leaves, or khumrah, a small mat, or any other thing, carpet, etc. Now we see how the author, he's not translating here, or rather here he's translating. But when Allah's name or Allah's attribute is mentioned, he interprets. Here is a literal translation. Yeah, we mentioned 385. And briefly, with regards to the hadith of Itban, the Prophet ﷺ, when he did, it says here, I remember Allah's Messenger ﷺ, and also the mouthful of water which he took from a bucket in our house and injected on me. And then he narrated the above hadith, which he heard from Itban ibn Malik. Mahmud ibn Rabi' radiallahu anhu was a young man, young boy. And the Prophet ﷺ was playing with him. He splashed water on him. He was being affectionate with the young boy. And he remembered that hadith. And he narrated the previous hadith that he heard from Itban. So this shows many things. First and foremost is that some of the companions narrated from each other. Rather, many of them. One may say most of them. They narrated what? From each other. And every hadith they didn't hear directly from the Prophet. Every hadith they didn't hear what? Directly from the Messenger of Allah. Especially the younger companions, such as Ibn Abbas. It also shows how the people consider him to be a Sahabi even though he was young. He wasn't in the age of puberty yet. But he was old enough to understand what was going on around him. Everybody clear on this? Right. So chapter 48 says, he mentions two words literally, hasir and khumra. And then he puts the English and explains the English. Wouldn't it have been easy for him to say a mat, a prayer rug, things like this? So why does the translator, when it comes to Allah's certain attributes of Allah, he feels the need to do what? Interpret it. And when it comes to a mat, a straw mat, he feels the need to do what? Rigidly translate it word for word. He would have been safer doing the what? The opposite. Everybody clear on this? Tight. Perfection is obviously for Allah. He says, or anything, or any other thing, carpet, etc. It would have been simple to just say that in the beginning, right? A carpet or anything what? Similar to a carpet. Have you ever prayed on a straw mat before? In Guyana, without a question. I prayed on straw mats before too, Sheikh. I got stripes too. My broom may not be authentic, but I have prayed on a straw mat before, huh? Allahu Akbar. Barakallahu feek, Sheikh. He says, or any other thing, carpet, etc., which is clean and pure, not soiled with filthy things. Not soiled with filthy things. The permissibility to pray on a prayer rug, as long as that prayer rug is what? Clean. And then it says, Maymuna radiallahu anha narrated, Allah's Messenger was offering salah while I was beside him during my menses. And sometimes his clothes would touch me during his prostration. She also said, and he prayed on a khumrah. He prayed on a what? A khumrah. A small mat hardly sufficient for the face and the hands while prostrating during a salah. While prostrating during a salah. Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala, he says, or before what Nawawi says about this next chapter, what does this have to do with people praying in congregation with regards to voluntary prayers? The people offering voluntary prayers and praying in congregation. What does this chapter have to do with the hadith? What does the hadith have to do with the chapter? It's just like before. The narrations are mentioned in Sahih Muslim, but aren't mentioned in Bukhari. So he took the chapter from Muslim and put it for the hadiths of Bukhari and Muslim. We explained that, why the book is like that. Tayyib, moving forward. Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala, he says, فيه جواز الصلاة على الحصير وسائر ما تنبته الأرض وهذا مجمع عليه وما روي عن عمر بن عبد العزيز من خلاف فهذا محمول على استحباب التواضع بمباشرة نفس الأرض وفيه أن الأصل في الثياب والبساط أو البسط والحصر ونحوها أو ونحوها الطهارة وأن حكم طهارته مستمر حتى تتحقق نجاسته. He says it is permissible to pray on anything that comes from the earth. Any type of covering or spread that comes from the earth. And this is agreed upon. As far as that which is mentioned, that Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, he didn't like to do it. He says perhaps this means that he meant for a person to put his face directly on the ground. Directly what? On the ground. In other words, to make things simple and to modernize things, the permissibility of praying on a prayer rug. Now one may have a big problem if he reads certain books or certain details in which a person says that you can't pray on a prayer rug. Why can't you pray on a prayer rug? They say your face has to be directly on the earth. Your face has to be what? Directly on the earth. Like we took, what, the turban, remember? The forehead, the knees and everything, etc. So that would mean that every masjid would have to remain what? Dirt or gravel. And obviously, how many people are ready or willing or capable of what? Of doing that. He also says that this shows us is that everything is pure and clean until it is clearly proven to be what? Pure and unclean. Unfortunately, we don't have the ability to mention the other fawaid that he brings up regarding the hadith that are in Sahih Muslim. Praying, making the rules, praying Jama'ah congregation, many fiqh issues. But they haven't been mentioned in wal-Marjan. Moving forward. باب فضل صلاة الجماعة وانتظار الصلاة. حديث أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال صلاة الجميع تزيد على صلاته في بيته وصلاته في سوقه 25 درجة. فإن أحدكم إذا توضأ فأحسن وأتى المسجد لا يريد إلا الصلاة لم يخطو خطوة إلا رفعه الله بها درجة وحط عنه خطيئة حتى يدخل المسجد وإذا دخل المسجد كان في صلاة ما كانت تحبسه وتصلي عليه الملائكة ما دام في مجلسه الذي يصلي فيه اللهم اغفر له واللهم ارحمه ما لم يحدث فيه. Chapter 49 says superiority of salah and congregation and waiting for the salah, like we previously explained. The virtue of the Jama'ah prayer. And this chapter heading has nothing to do with whether Jama'ah is obligatory or not, as we have explained. Narrated Abu Hurairah, Hadith 387, the Prophet ﷺ said, the prayer offered in congregation is 25 times more superior to the salah offered alone in one's house or in a business center. Because if one performs ablution and does it perfectly, and then proceeds to the mosque with the sole intention for offering salah, then for each step which he takes towards the mosque, Allah upgrades him a degree in reward and crosses out one sin till he enters the mosque. When he enters the mosque, he is considered in salah as long as he is waiting for the salah. And the angels keep on asking for Allah's forgiveness for him. And they keep on saying, "Oh Allah, be merciful to him. Oh Allah, forgive him." As long as he does not hadith. As long as he keeps on sitting at his praying place and does not hadith. And does not hadith. What is does not hadith? As long as he doesn't hadith. See what I'm talking about, the translation style. Al-Muhim, this hadith, before we move forward to the main lesson from this hadith, it shows us that what's meant by al-jama'ah is the prayer that is done in the house of Allah. And not the jama'ah that's done in your house, nor in your place of business. This is an argument for those who hold that view. Is that it is insufficient for 5 brothers to pray in a place, and the masjid is in close proximity. Everyone understand the difference? There are 2 different issues now. One is praying in congregation. I'm in my house, and I'm praying what? In congregation. It's me, my 2 older sons, my wife, my daughter. That's a congregation, it's jama'ah. And the other concept is going to the masjid, the house of Allah. And it's only you and another brother, 2 brothers. You and the mu'adhin. But in your house, you may have, like I said, 3 sons, 2 daughters, a wife, a grandmother, etc. Several people praying. You may have 10 people. And in the house of Allah, you only have what? 2. So this hadith, among other proofs and evidences, are used for those who hold the view that you must pray what? In the masjid. That's what's meant by jama'ah. That's what's meant by what? The virtue of it, fulfilling its obligation, etc. Everybody clear on this? Right, moving forward. Hadith also shows us the virtue of the masjid. The virtue of the place of the masjid. And it goes to show us the virtue of making imperfect wudu. And the virtue of al-ikhlas, being sincere for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Only coming to the masjid for the salah. Not for the people to see me, or not to be afraid and the people don't see me in the masjid. I only come to pray. That's it. And it goes to show us the great bounty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah's great bounty. Every step is a darajah. Every step a sin is being forgiven. So how many steps do you take from your car to the masjid? A block from the masjid. 3 blocks you walk, 4 blocks you walk. How many good deeds you get? How much sins are removed? Let alone coming back, sitting in the masjid. Allah's bounty is limitless. And you can't lose with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Impossible. Moving forward. Hadith shows us the virtue of waiting for the salah, in which a person can make dhikr. A person can read the Quran, which is the greatest of dhikr, as Ibn Qayyim has established. A person can seek ilm. A person can enjoy his brother's company. A person can eat and drink. You're in the masjid waiting for the next salah. And it also shows us the existence of the angels. And how the angels make dua for the human beings. How the angels pray for the human beings. And it also establishes and affirms one of the meanings of the word salah. Yusalli. It says what? وَتُصَلِّي عَلَيْهِ الْمَلَائِكَةِ. The angels make salah upon him. Meaning they do what? They make dua for this human being. It affirms Allah's forgiveness. It also affirms Allah's mercy. And also shows us the virtue of being in a pure state. The virtue of being in what? A pure state. And keeping your wudu. Keeping your what? Keeping your wudu. Chapter 50. حديث أبي موسى رضي الله عنه قال قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أعظم الناس أجرا في الصلاة أبعدهم فأبعدهم ممشى والذي ينتظر الصلاة حتى يصليها مع الإمام أعظم أجرا من الذي يصلي ثم ينام. Narrated Abu Musa رضي الله عنه, the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم said, the people who get tremendous reward for the prayer are those who are farthest away, and then those who are next farthest, and so on. Similarly, one who waits to offer salat with the imam has greater reward than one who offers salat and goes to bed. Than one who offers salat and then goes to bed. So the chapter heading says, Babu fadli kathratul khuta ila al-masajid. The superiority of taking many steps in order to reach the masjid. Whether it means having a further distance, or whether it means taking small steps and increasing and maximizing the actual what? Footsteps. What's important is the virtue of walking to the masjid. Does this include the wheel turning? No? Anybody else? Does this include the rotation of your tire? Your rims? There were modes of transportation in the time of the Prophet ﷺ. Right? Anybody else? Anybody think differently? It's included. Right? So how do the tires, one gets a good deed and one removes a bad deed? If it's 4 tires. But which tire is up and down though? Well, no, what I mean is, when you take a step, you do what? Which tire is what? The good deed and the bad deed. Forward and backward. What do you got forward drive? Subaru, huh? Bicycles. Same concept. Everybody understand it? Pay close attention now. I'm not saying that's wrong. That's the tire. Abdul Qawi said they had means of transportation. The Prophet mentioned what? Pat and Charlie. Old heads. No, my feet, they would say, right? Think about this now. That's what we're trying to get to right now. is that they had means of transportation in the time of the Prophet. Fast horses, racehorses, Arabian racehorse, camels, donkeys, mules. Hadith is clear. Not that clear, Abdul Qawi. طيب. Also, the concept of the foot and the virtue of the foot, and the significance of a what? Of a foot. It can never ever be replaced with technology, طيب, moving forward. That's the main lesson from the hadith, is that the further you are, the greater of reward it is. However, if you're so far, do you have to go to the masjid? How far? What's close? What's far?
Closest with, if you can hear the adhan, there's no other noise. Heavy noise, you can hear the adhan.
Close said that if you can hear the adhan through the natural way, then that would be considered close enough in which you are required to come to the masjid. And if you live in a distance in which you couldn't hear the adhan except through loudspeakers or an app, then that would be the zone in which you don't have to what? Come to the masjid. But the hadith here is the virtue of what? Going to the masjid, period. Just because we say something isn't obligatory doesn't mean that it isn't virtuous, that you shouldn't do it. But it's a legal issue. Is it a sin in leaving it off or not? That doesn't mean that you what? Shouldn't do it. Some people, they may say, whether it's the Hanafi madhab or someone else or others, that you can't pray unless your head is covered. You cannot pray unless you're what? So the other ulama will say that's incorrect. You can pray with your head uncovered. That doesn't mean that they're saying that you what? That you shouldn't, not just can't, but you shouldn't cover your head in the salah. Everybody clear on this? But they're arguing over whether it's what? Fard or sunnah. You have to, you don't. It doesn't mean that they're saying that you should always be what? Uncovered and don't cover your head. It doesn't mean that. And there are many other issues. So we have to be mindful of this, We have to be what? And many people, they don't understand the proper etiquettes of difference of opinion. They don't understand the proper etiquette of khilaf, of ijtihad, of taqleed. Okay? Just because the scholar says that a woman doesn't have to cover her hands and her face, it does not mean that he does not encourage it. But is a legal ruling. A woman who does not cover her hands and her face is not sinful, he may say. And the other scholar says she is sinful for uncovering her hands and her face. Everybody clear this? But it doesn't mean that he's saying that you shouldn't cover your face. Obviously, there are certain people today and the times in which we live, in which some of them may say, no, you shouldn't cover your hands and your face. That's only specific to the time of the Prophet. It's only specific to the wives of the Prophet. Or some of them, they may even say, that's from the customs of Jahiliyyah, the customs of the pagans. And it's not, no proof, there's no evidence from Quran or Sunnah to cover the hands and the face. Let alone you live in America. Why would you want to scare your neighbors? Why would you want to frighten a poor innocent child in the supermarket? She sees your wife with a black mask on and gloves. Scary. Special ops, Black ops, shinobi, ninja, all types of things people may say, Why can't your wife show her face? Is she ugly? These are things people say. So therefore, you shouldn't wear niqab, you shouldn't cover your hands in America. Just wear modest clothes. The Quran says to dress modestly. Allah knows what's in your heart. And that's it. Everybody, did the ulama of the past, did they say this? Did they talk like this? Even those who said that she doesn't have to cover her hands and her face, did they ever go to that extreme that you shouldn't do it? You have to be mindful of these things. You have to be what? If a brother says that the beard does not have to be 5 inches long, as long as you have some hair on your face, then you've implemented the hadith. He may say that. A mufti may say that. A scholar may say that. You may read this in a fiqh book, many fiqh books. You may read this. But it doesn't necessarily mean that they're saying that you shouldn't grow it long. Everybody clear on this? But they're saying the minimum, the nisab, that what you must do is not to shave it and have some type of fluff to pull. Everybody clear on this or not? I'm not saying that that's the correct view. We're not saying that's what? We're just mentioning an example for the principle. For the what? For the principle. And not like people today who say that you shouldn't grow a full beard. A full beard has nothing to do with Islam. A full beard is a means of showing off. You're not righteous because you have a full beard. You're not pious because you have a full beard. You have a full beard, but you still cheat, you still rob, this is what the people say today. Or once again, in a supermarket, this full beard does what? Scares the little kid. Oh, mommy, he has a beard. Huh? Let alone, they're going to say, you look like this figure. You look like this infamous celebrity. You look like this terrorist because of a full beard. Full beards are scary and afraid. It's unfortunate that we live in the times. And once you find someone who's a doctor, someone who has scholastic studies, they speak like this. You go into a supermarket, you may have a beard on, a white dress, a toppy, a topi, whatever they call it, your wife's covered up, and the little kid may run up to you and say, hello, my name is such and such. Or they may ask you for something or offer you something or smile at you. You'd be shocked. And the child feels totally comfortable and safe with you. And the mother says, oh, come, Steve or Bobby, whatever his name is. But the kid is like, no, I want to talk to this guy. She's scared and terrified, and she can defend herself. She may know some type of boxing or martial arts. She may have, like some brothers carry around, pepper spray or pocket knives or other types of weapons. She may be, but the little kid can't defend him or herself and feels what? Something's wrong now. Something is seriously wrong. She's terrified and she's big, and the little kid is like, hi, what's your name? People, they look at how you are as a person. They look at you as what? As a person. Anyone who lives a real life and who knows his or her religion and walks and talks and practices all the time, they know this. You travel somewhere, some people that give you funny looks, they give you stares, they'll turn around. But there are many people that want to say hi to you, they're going to smile at you, they're going to hold the door for you, hold the door for them and say, oh, thank you. The lady walking out of the restaurant, she wasn't expecting for someone to hold the door for her. She was thinking that was outdated. That all the youth today, they listen to this trash music. They drink syrup and these crazy types of drugs. There's no such thing as a gentleman anymore. And you, the Muslim with a real big beard, the fierce, scary looking beard and a dress, you held the door for her. She says, thank you. She says it just like that. Shocked. Everyone doesn't stereotype. Everyone isn't afraid of how Muslims look and dress. Everyone isn't a slave of the news and media. Not everybody. There are many non-Muslims to this day. They look at you like a normal person. Rather, they'll joke with you. They'll talk to your co-workers more than the other people because no, he's not a backstabber. Brown-nosing, as you said. You're not conniving. He's a good, honest, upfront guy. I don't believe in his religion, but he's a good guy. Why can that? So it's not for us to always water down and try to compromise and bend and twist to please them. Just be yourself. Be a nice guy. Be a nice person. Be upfront. And the people, that's what they're going to look at. And obviously there are going to be people that are going to look at the opposite. They're all going to stereotype. Well, who cares about that? They don't mean anything anyway. Even in the real world, they don't what? They don't mean anything. They don't determine policy. Everybody clear on this? And only Allah knows the stories that we can tell you with regards to how people will feel comfortable and come up to you and speak to you and engage you dressed in the manner in which you're dressed. Everyone is not terrified and scared to death when they see a beard. That's not true. That's what? That's not true. طيب. خيرا inshallah. So we'll stop here tonight, bid'nai ta'ala, and perhaps we'll leave some time for some questions, just a few. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala should know best. Jazakumullahu khairan for your time, for your attention, and for your respect.